brand new agent. There's a brand new agent named Elvis who started prospecting. And he called a for sale by owner. He was sponsored in by Juan. And he was prospecting a for sale by owner, which is what we're training on today. And they had a listing appointment, right?
That was good.
So I want to just like recap, how did it go? What was the appointment like? What were some objections?
Actually, in our way there, the homeowner, he called Elvis. He said that his dad will be there. He was not going to be there. So to start with. Now, obviously, he's the one that makes the decisions, and we went there anyway. So we just want to see the house. We want to talk to the dad. We had some nice things for, we had like as far as the comparables and stuff like that. So we went there. There was another agent also there.
Okay.
As I expect. So
yeah.
But the other agent, he just brought a business card. He left there. With there. So. And we talked to that, we went downstairs, upstairs, we gave him some ideas and stuff like that. So, and I left my business card, Elvis' business card, and a little package that we had. So later on, actually, the son called when we were there. Said, "Listen, I couldn't be there. I'm sorry. I'll call you later." So he called me like 2 hours later. So he wanted to know, what we thought about the property and everything. The price and stuff. So, he was very good. Actually, he's still thinking. He said he's going to talk to his wife. He's not in a rush to put the property in the market.
Okay.
So he said that he liked what we wrote as far as all the marketing stuff. What we're going to do for him to sell his property, and that's where we are right now.
Okay, when was the last time you followed back up with him?
Actually, I followed up on Monday.
Yesterday?
Yesterday, I left a message.
Okay.
He didn't pick up.
Okay.
So that's what we're
at. I'm going to talk about this later on, but I would like, whenever you guys go on an actual listing appointment,
yes.
I want you guys to end it with follow-up steps. Right, whether it's, I promised you that after looking at your property, I'm going to give you a more accurate analysis. Because when you do an analysis prior to seeing the property, a lot of times it's very general, isn't it?
Yes.
You could always go back and give a more updated analysis. So always leave with like a follow-up. Not just because the reason why I say this is because I know a lot of how a lot of you guys think, right? A lot of you guys are thinking, I don't want to follow up because I'm scared to follow up. I don't know what to say, right? So you might call and say, hey, have you decided yet? And that's kind of like a weak follow-up. Whereas you're like, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I promised you that I would give you a more accurate analysis, and I've created that. Can we set up another follow-up meeting? I know you were busy and we met with your father, but how's, weekdays or is weekends better for you? Right. So always with like some type of follow-up that like an action step, right? Or I promised you that I would look into, I went on a listing appointment and I always try to find potential issues with a home, whether it's a sidewalk lien, an open violation, work that wasn't signed off, and you find this off Adam through the DOB sites, things like that. So I always like to show how I could be of help or actual follow-up steps instead of, hi, checking in, do you have an update? Have you decided yet? Hey, checking in again. I think that is a weak follow-up. Whereas a stronger follow-up where you will blow the competition away is if you provide resource, when you provide help, when you provide actual like knowledge, then they see your value as opposed to just, hey, checking in, are you going to pick an agent yet? That doesn't that doesn't separate you from everyone else. And I promise you, majority of agents that are calling for sale by owners expired, they're so weak. They're just leaving a business card. They're just, and they're not leaving anything else. Or they're not providing value. Your job as a realtor is to show your value. And if they don't see the value, then why are they going to choose you, right? So we're going to talk about, did anyone else make calls last week, by the way? There was a lot of expired lists that I saw Vincent's team put up in the Slack channel.
No.
I've been calling all morning. Yes.
You've been calling all morning, Kathy?
It started at 8 o'clock.
That's amazing. And have you secured any listing appointments or any meetings?
No, one gentleman said to call back in the afternoon. I got a lot of people hanging up, but that's okay. I'll call right back again. It didn't make a difference.
A lot of times they're getting bombarded with a lot of calls, a lot of agents, and they won't remember who they hung up on, right? They're not going to say, oh, it's you again, Kathy.
I'm going to call back at 6 o'clock.
Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about
One thing, yesterday, August called me, he said one of the brokers called me from Brooks, New York State. Just to check on him, I was there, but he said, he mentioned about the cold calling that he did. And he said that we're not supposed to be calling people.
Because we're in a what's it called?
State.
The governor says that we're in a
So, yeah, it's for the way say something to for sale by owner, you gotta be careful, because sometimes they actually know it's not, but mostly they don't know that, calling is restricted.
But he's $13,000 fee.
Yeah,
Fine.
it is, yeah. But if you really annoy them, then they might, but most of the people, they don't really report, they don't know actually as well.
Yeah.
Okay. No, we just August was a little bit nervous yesterday and said one I should not have.
A workaround is because you can't solicit, right?
Yeah.
You can't solicit for business. So what you can say is, I just want to help you. Let me give you information. Let me provide you with some information as to why I think your listing expired. Or let me give you some information as to why I believe I can help a for sale by owner, right? So if you don't I guess, ask for business, it's a little different, but that's hard when you're soliciting. People are still prospecting. I have my sellers telling me that people are calling them, right? I always let my listings expire, some of them, and then I relist it as a brand new listing because it resets the days on the market, right? So sometimes my sellers will tell me, I'm sorry, I have some messages.
Lily, when you say you let your listing expire, so you change the expire day?
I'm sorry?
You say you let your listing expire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you change the expire days earlier than show day?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
You say you let your listing expire, right?
Yeah.
So you physically change the listing, the expire days or earlier than your listing expire
No.
day? Or how's that?
No, I let it expire based on its original contract date.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but prior to letting it expire, I mean, I have brand new listings already, listing documents already signed in place. But I let it expire. And the trick to actually resetting the days on the market is, a lot of these sites, they link these listings based on address, right? So the little tricks that we do is instead of putting a dash, let's say 68-56 Groton Street, you do 6856 Groton Street. Or if it's a co-op, instead of it being unit 2B, I'll do 2-B or 2-B. That little adjustments actually resets the days on the market. Those are the little tricks. Sorry, give me 1 second. So, okay. So I do want you guys to please continue calling expireds. Expireds are the low-hanging fruit. Those are owners that have already decided to use an agent, right? They may have just chose the wrong one, or sometimes, like I just listed a for family in Maspeth, right? It's going live today. I interviewed for that property, right? But I didn't get it because of the fact that the previous agent quoted them a much higher price that wasn't true market value. And it expired, and now I have the listing, right? So a lot of times expired listings are majority of the time overpriced listings, because a lot of agents will overprice a listing just to try to get the listing and in hopes that the owner will adjust the price later on. But sometimes they just don't.
There was that thing on that property that we went to see. I thought it was the owner didn't want to do it way overpriced.
Yeah.
Way, like maybe $150,000 over.
Yeah, majority of for sale by owners don't know how to price accurately. Okay. What do they go by? They might go by the Department of Finance valuation, right? And a lot of times that's just strictly property tax value. And how that is done is through a radius. It's not true value based on what a buyer is willing to pay and what a seller is willing to let it go at. Another thing that sellers use is Zillow. Zillow is so inaccurate. There's articles even mentioning that the owner of Zillow sold his property significantly lower than whatever the Zestimate was, right? And they will say that their estimates are extremely inaccurate. Okay. So I do want you guys to target the expireds first. And that's why I did the training last week on expireds. We're talking about for sale by owners today. And I want to talk about for sale by owners because they still exist. They do.
I signed a listing with for sale by owner like a month ago.
Yeah.
But he was asking for too much, like 2.1 million, but the actual price for the property is like around 1.6 million. We did sign the listing, but we didn't put it on the market. And I was like, hey, if you were gonna sell it at that price, we can't really do anything. And he was like, okay, it's fine. I'll try myself, and then if it doesn't work out, then I'll take it off the market. And then he just wants that 2.1 million.
When you say you signed a listing,
yeah, we did.
And you didn't put it on the market?
Yeah.
Why? If you signed a listing, how come you didn't put it on the market?
Because Vincent was like, are you gonna waste so much time on him? Because we knew his intention.
But if you signed a listing, you have a contractual obligation to list the property.
But I don't know, that's what Vincent said.
I'm very confused.
Yeah.
I'll put it anyway and see what they can have.
So is it a private listing? Is it like an in-office?
Nah, he's still.
And you didn't list the property?
Yeah. But we
Okay.
didn't sign the contract, so it doesn't make any sense, I don't.
But you have a contract.
Maybe you signed a contract but Vincent voided it?
What do they have?
Yeah, I mean, it's not actually, we didn't sign the contract, but we did send it to the broker, so it's not really a signed contract then, right?
I don't know. I don't know when you signed it. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
If you
sign contract, you have 48 hours to upload, right?
you're supposed to.
That's why that thing, because we didn't send it to the broker to sign it, so.
I mean, I'm assuming Vincent knows. Or
Lily, your voice is cutting off. You're not speaking.
Oh, I don't know what's wrong with this microphone. How about now?
Now it's better.
Okay.
You have to talk straight to microphone. Oh no.
Connection problem.
Doesn't work.
How about now?
Now it's working.
Okay. So what I personally think Vincent did is that he realized that this is an absolute waste of time. Yeah. Because you're significantly overpriced.
Yeah.
Even if you're able to find a buyer willing to pay that price, right? So a lot of times I'll say to the owners, you want me to find someone smart enough to have the amount of money to pay $2.1 million, but not smart enough to know that they're overpriced paying. That's extremely difficult.
Yeah,
And that's not even the worst part. Most likely he's gonna get a mortgage and there's a third-party appraiser that's gonna come in and assess the value. And they're gonna look at the same comparables that I'm showing you, that the property is worth 1.6 million, not 2.1. So we could go all this way and the deal's gonna fall apart
yeah.
anyway, right? So that's the reasoning that I see him making.
The owner said, "Oh, I know the property value is, I know it's a market price is this, but he said some developer will buy it because it's in his zone that, allows you to build up." He was like,
That's a possibility. It depends on what the zoning is.
I think it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that possibility, but you gotta understand the zoning. Like, I closed on a Flushing property that was horrible. There was black mold growing in it. It went for 1.5 million all cash.
Yeah.
But because of the zoning, like they're gonna rebuild or do whatever they're gonna do with it. So you have to understand the zoning. There's a possibility, but his zoning calculations might be wrong.
Yeah, we can still put it on the market. I mean, I have a good connection with them, but
So then follow up.
I
Follow
don't
up.
think we should put it on the market.
I think
You
always
need to-
should, because then you're gonna show to them, look, we're doing everything what we can. But there is like no calls, or whoever is calling, they thinking it's overpriced. But at least you're gonna show them.
So there are some things you guys could do with overpriced listings or owners that still insist on listing and overpricing. And real estate is a different industry where we actually pay money to do professional photos, Matterport, floor plan. So we're investing money in hopes of getting it back when the property sells, right? So you can say to the owner, listen, I'm willing to that the property, can you guys hear? This microphone is going crazy. Can you guys hear?
It's going in and
Yes, now, yeah.
Okay.
Now, yeah.
I don't know technology. So if somebody wants to try to fix this, I'm just gonna keep talking. Hello. Okay. So what you can do, right? You can say to the seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, real estate is a little bit different than many other businesses where we're investing money in marketing and advertising your property. And we both know that your property is overpriced currently, but I'm willing to try, right? And if after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we do not get any appointments, you're going to sign today that we're going to do a price reduction, a price adjustment.
Yeah, totally.
So you get that price adjustments done prior so that you're not wasting your time and money, right? So there's always that option as
what I
well.
told him. He was like, all right, there's no point in reducing the price because I'm gonna sell it at that price. So he agreed to listing it at 1.8 million, but he said he's gonna sell it at 2.1 anyways.
Okay, let's try.
You just got to keep following up. All right, let's go back to Francis. Can you give everyone the Jackie Kravitz scripts again, the link to it, because we're gonna go into it again and we're gonna go over for sale by owners now. Okay. Prior to us going into, before we go into the scripts, I need you guys to understand why for sale by owners sell less than what they would have gotten with the help of a realtor, because you have to know stats, right? When I first started 26 years ago, there was a lot more for sale by owners, a lot more. And we would call a lot of for sale by owners, but for whatever reason, less and less for sale by owners are trying themselves. And if you look at National Association of Realtors stats, right? Last year, I think only 6% of people tried for sale by owner. In 2024, in 2025, only 5% of for sale by owners attempted to sell by themselves. When it was 2020, I think there was like close to 20% of for sale by owners trying themselves. Why do you guys think the numbers keep shrinking?
It's sellers getting less patient. You just try it, and then they list something
They
else.
don't even try anymore. So what this means is 5 out of, let's say, every 100 homes in 2025 were sold by for sale by owner only 5 out of 100.
Because you need to know the process, you need to know the paperwork, legalities, all that stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and. they don't.
And what I think also is people are now more occupied in the workforce, right? I think you now need 2-income households. There's less flexibility for many people as well. Time is money for a lot of people, right? So less and less for sale by owners are trying. Okay. And then statistically, when you look at the median sale price, and you guys should know these numbers, right? So you guys should go into NAR, you should look at stats because you're going to use these stats when for sale by owners are asking you like why or how, or, you know, they're going to want to know they're going to want you to justify the reason why. Okay. And if you look at 2024 numbers and 2025 numbers, for sale by owner median sale prices are over 8, maybe 8.7% less than if they were to use a realtor, right? So think about that. Is broker commission less than 8.5% majority of the time? Yeah, right? So why are you going to try yourself when using a realtor is going to net you more statistically? Right? You guys got to know a lot of these stats. Okay. So you could tell them, like, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, did you know that only 5 out of 100 sellers attempted for sale by owner? And those 5 people out of 100 that sold, who do you think they sold to? Come on.
I think they most sold through buyer agent, right?
It could be, or majority of the time it's friends and family or neighbors that they end up selling to. Like, oh, my neighbor's interested, or my friend might be interested. Right?
Yeah, I have this for sale by owner in Queens Village.
Mm-hmm.
Been 6 months, 7 months on the market. We met him 2-3 times, but he had a lot of time to put the work in the property, like just stay there, you know. And he's now under contract.
Mm-hmm.
He's still a for sale by owner
Yeah.
because he had a lot of time as well. So that's why he didn't go with the broker, and he wanted to learn by himself everything.
But he may have still sold less than what he would have gotten with the help of a realtor.
He said he's under contract, but anything can happen, you know, the appraisal can come short or whatever. So, yeah.
Let me give you guys stats. 2025, 91% of sellers worked with a real estate agent, which is a record high. Let me give you more stats. On average, for sale by owner median sale price 2025 $360,000, 2025 assisted agent sales $425,000. Right? So you're doing 8.3%, 8 point something percent, right? So you guys got to know statistics in order to really, if you believe yourself that you are in fact helping a for sale by owner, I think you'll be more inclined to call a for sale by owner and attempt to show them that working with the realtor actually nets them more money. And I talked a little bit about this last week too, right? Like, why do agents net sellers more? Why do you guys think?
You know the market.
We know the market. Pricing is 90% why a property will or will not sell, right?
We are
Pricing-
better negotiator.
I'm sorry?
I think we are better negotiating.
We're trained negotiators, right? Some of us. We're better trained at negotiating. We know the mental game. But the simple law of supply and demand, right? The simple law of supply and demand basically says that the more demand you have for anything for sale, the better your chance of getting it sold for more money. Yeah. You guys know that after the NAR settlement, you guys understand the NAR settlement? Come on.
Yep.
Okay. Prior to the NAR settlement, a lot of agents ran around with buyers without a buyer contract. Is that correct? Now you are required by law to sign a buyer contract, right? And this buyer contract says that you, as a buyer, have to work with that agent contractually, and there's already a predetermined commission. Yes? Okay. So for sale by owner to go at it themselves with no one advocating for them, yet a buyer has a trained professional realtor helping them comp out the property, negotiate on their behalf, who do you think is going to make out better? Most likely the buyer, right? I see a lot of sellers kind of just giving it away. A lot of times also buyers and buyer's agent know that the seller's saving on that side. So do you think they're going to give you your asking price? No. They're going to say, hey, you're saving 3%, you're saving 6%. I'm going to come in lower. So who's really saving that percentage? Do you guys follow? Okay.
This guy, for sale by owners are a little bit crazy. Last year I had a listing in Long Island, right across the street from one of these guys. So every time I do an open house, he also put an open house in his house. Just to steal me.
To steal your buyers. Did he end up selling?
I think eventually he did, yeah, but I kept giving him a list of buyers that I had. And he still would not list with us. He wanted to do by himself.
Did he end up selling for the same price or lower?
Most likely, I'm not sure, but I just spoke away. I didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get everyone,
Yeah.
right? Some people just have a lot of time on their hands. I had someone call me, by the way. He's for sale by owner, but he wasn't getting the activity. He wasn't doing any of that. And he wanted me to just take professional photos, do the Matterport, put it on MLS, but he's already on MLS. You guys know that there's a lot of those for sale by owner companies where you pay a flat fee, let's say like $500 or so. And then what's it called? House it? Or like some,
It's different.
yeah, there's different options out there where for sale by owners could actually put their listing on the MLS, right? But every time he still had to go open the door, he still had to host the open houses, he still had to do everything, right? But he wanted me to do the professional photos. He wanted me to put it on the MLS, despite the fact that he was already on the MLS. And he wanted me to put it on Street Easy, and that was it. And he would pay 1.5% commission. And I'm like, okay, well, who's going to qualify this? And this was for a co-op, by the way. I'm like, who's going to qualify the buyer? Who's going to make sure their debt to income ratio makes sense? Are you going to review their tax return, pay stubs, credit report, bank statements? Are you going to confirm that their DTI, And I said all this, and he's like, yeah, I know how to qualify. I know how to qualify. And I said to him, it doesn't make sense for you to pay someone 1.5% commission if you're going to do all the work yourself just to get it on MLS.
So it's not only that he knows how to qualify. Some buyers, they would not disclose the full information.
I don't think he knows how to qualify. He just said he did.
But I'm just saying, we can't like say to make them prove wrong, but I'm just saying some buyers, they would not want the seller to have all the full financial information.
Yeah.
But then they don't want to give them the application.
Yeah. And a lot of sellers don't know how to explain why they need that information. So they end up trying to sell it themselves, and then the buyers get rejected from the board. But as of right now, this is the problem that we see with a lot of for sale by owners. They think they know what they're doing. They do. but they truly don't until you logically explain to them that no, right now there's a lot of laws in place, right? So your job is to educate and provide value. Do for sale by owners know that they have to provide a property condition disclosure statements now?
Yes.
Most of for sale by owners don't know.
Yeah.
No. And they're like, what is that? Right? So I, as an agent, have no problem educating a for sale by owner to let them know what they need to be done, what needs to be done, with the hopes that they get overwhelmed, right? And then they'll say, you take it. I don't want to deal with this crap anymore, So your job as an agent, when you're calling these for sale by owners, or let's say for sale by owners call you like they did me, is to tell them like you're in over your head. And what you're proposing that we do doesn't make sense. If you want to pay 1.5% for me to just take professional photos and do nothing else, it doesn't make sense. Hire a professional photographer, get the professional photos done, and try it yourself. But if you really need the help of an agent, it goes far beyond opening the door and showing the place. A monkey can do that. Anyone can do that, right? Our job is actually qualifying and negotiating and bringing it to the finish line. And you guys have to understand that, right? And you have to truly believe that. As an agent, your job is not to just open the door. Your job is not to just honestly, I could just pay a showing agent to do that. $50 a door. Right? Showami. What does Showami? You guys know Showami? Showami is like this app where you could pay agents to just open the door. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So I know I'm sharing a lot of information, but here's additional stats that you guys should know. And this is on Jackie Kravis's listing presentation. A breakdown of buyers. If you guys could turn to page 27 of the Jackie Kravis's of scripts. 11% can't afford the home that they're calling on, right? So you guys should be saying this to the owners. Did you know that 11% of buyers that are calling you about your property actually can't afford your home? 15% will end up just renting because they're just browsing. They're just seeing what's out there. 70% have frozen equity. What does frozen equity mean?
Can I take the money out of the previous, the properties that they have to buy this one?
Correct.
Right.
Frozen equity means that their liquid funds are tied up into another property, right? Meaning that they need to sell before they can buy. And a lot of times sellers don't know how to deal with that, how to ask that. And sometimes these buyers will say, I'll sign the contract, but wait for me to sell my other property first. And then sellers end up doing that. They take their property off the market and they can't even move forward with this buyer because his equity is tied up. Okay, so 7 out of 10 buyers have their equity tied up somewhere. Only 4% are ready, willing, and able. So if you know these stats, again, you'll understand why the help of a realtor is important. Do you guys remember I did a little role playing of buyers that actually need to sell before they can buy? Yes.
When you say that they're losing from both sides.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into that today, okay? Because it's very lengthy. Maybe we'll do another training on that. But when you find a buyer, every buyer that you guys are dealing with, by the way, every buyer lead, every buyer that comes through you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yes, yes.
Every buyer that you're speaking to, every buyer that comes through your open house, even people that are renting that are looking to buy, you need to ask them, do you need to sell before you can buy? Okay. Majority of them, a lot of them, 7 out of 10, will say yes. I need to sell before I can buy, but I want to find something first. They all think that way because they're afraid that if they sell first, they won't have anything to buy. But the problem is they can't buy without selling, right? So majority of sellers will not risk taking their property off the market and say, okay, I'll wait for you to sell. Think about it. If you were a seller, right, and you had 2 buyers come to you, one is ready to go, the 4%, right? And one says, I love your home. I want to buy it, but can you wait till I sell my house first? Which one do you think the seller is going to go with? The first one, right? So there's a whole script to that, which I'm going to get into, but I don't want to deviate from what our training is. But think about it that way, right? 7 out of 10 cannot move forward before they actually can liquidate, before they liquidate their equity first. Okay. And hiring a realtor is what's going to help you determine that so you're not wasting your time, Mr. For Sale by Owner. Right? Okay. So you need to know that. Okay. Let's go into the actual scripts. Now that you guys know stats, now that you guys know, reasons why for sale by owners need the help of a realtor, let's go into the actual scripts. What is the #1 reason why for sale by owners try for sale by owner?
Save money.
They want to save commission, I guess.
90% of the time, it's to save commission. Remember last week I said to you guys, if you know already what the question's going to be on a test, wouldn't you try to study those questions and know the answer? It's the same thing with these role playing, with these scripts. You know that a for sale by owner is going to say, no, I want to do it myself. Why? To save commission, right? To save commission. That's going to be the #1 reason why. So how do we combat that? How do we handle that objection?
Completely understand you want to save the commission, but what if I show you a way of where working with me, you can actually net more money than selling it by yourself? Do you have 20 minutes of the time? Discuss that, I guess.
Is today good or tomorrow better?
Yeah.
Right? Always end it with alternate of choice. That's exactly what. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, this microphone is going crazy.
Yes.
Okay. So what's your name?
Gulab.
Gulab. So he went through the scripts, right? Some of these other trainers, it's just get the appointment, right? You're never going to convince them over the phone. They'll never say, hey, Lily, no problem. Come over with your listing agreement. I'm ready to go. They're not going to say that, right? Your job is to secure that listing appointment. And what if I say to you, okay, why don't you explain to me how?
To actually show the numbers, what's going on in the market, I need to meet with you for 20 minutes because on the phone it's gonna be too long, I'll say.
What else can you say? I don't have
see
time
your
to meet with you.
property,
Yeah.
So I need to see it in person. So can prepare for you the customized plan, how we can sell it.
Mhm.
The most amount of money.
You want to bring their guard down. For sale by owners have their guard up, right? Every agent out there is calling them, right? So how do you get their guard down? You know what they're thinking. They know or they think that you're going to come in and try to get them to list, right? And it might not be in Jackie Kravitz's script because it was in some other scripts that I learned. I like to tell them, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know you're probably thinking that I want to meet with you because I want to list your property, which isn't 100% false, but at the same time, you know, I would love to meet with you and see your property first. I promise I won't even bring my listing agreement. I would leave it in the car though, right? Promise I won't even bring my listing agreement. Okay. The only reason why I want to do that is because your home is in the market that I service. And if I can help you, if and when you do decide to use a realtor, I would just love to apply for the position. Right? Don't avoid what they're thinking, because they're thinking that. They're thinking this guy just wants to get in my door and get me to sign this listing agreement. Right? So why don't you just handle that first? I understand why you're reluctant to meet with me in person. You're probably thinking I'm like any other salesperson coming in with my listing agreement to try to get you to sign. Right? Say it.
How you handle when they say, bring me a buyer, I'll pay a commission. That's what they say most of the time.
You know, to be honest with you, every agent is going to say that they have a buyer. But if they truly had a buyer, your home would be sold by now, wouldn't it? Right? I don't know if I have a buyer for your home. I haven't seen your property yet. Why don't we set up a time for me to come in? It'll only take 20 minutes of your time. Let me see if I do have a buyer for your property, but at the same time, let me show you how working with an agent will net you more money than going for sale by owner. Right? At least if you decide that you don't want to go the route of a realtor, hopefully you'll walk away with some information that will help you with your sale. Logic, right? So they're all going to say, I have a buyer, I have a buyer. And Jackie Kravitz goes into it really like, well, she'll say, you know, I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I'm not going to tell you that I have a buyer, right? I love that. I love when she does that. I'm not going to insult your intelligence, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. If I had a buyer, your home would have been sold already, right? So if you're able to be honest with them and you show them that you're honest, I feel like but I know their guard will come down. You're not going to sound like most of the agents out there. Okay, because they're using their own scripts and they're scared.
What if they keep saying the same thing again and again? Bring me a buyer, bring me a buyer. Even after you handle the objection, they're gonna say the same thing. So how do you break them?
I don't know if I have a buyer for your property yet. Like I haven't even seen your home. And they'll say, well, the pictures are online. Right? I've heard that before.
You know, usually the pictures are taken from the best angles.
Yeah.
You know, I will really want to review the property in person and see.
Yeah. So how I would say that, right? And we've done this objection over and over before. Well, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you know, the photos that you put online portray the best qualities of your home. But I actually want to see your property in the eyes of a buyer. Like there are certain defects, I'm sure. So if I could see the entire home in its entirety, I'll be able to know truly what the value of your home is.
Yeah.
Right?
You can you say that? Hey, so if you had a buyer call you, and would you say to him that, oh, pictures are online, just see it.
See it and buy it.
Right.
Yeah, you could say that, but I promise you, most sellers, they're just
Can't hear you.
I hate this microphone. You guys hear me?
Now
It's
or
like
now?
in and out, in and out.
Yes.
So they're going to have that objection. They're going to say, just bring me a buyer, bring me a buyer. Right? And if you go into Jackie's script, let's just read it. Bring me a buyer and I'll pay your commission, page 11. You know, thank you for the offer. I imagine that you are willing to work with the buyer's agent because you don't want to miss any potential buyers, right? Or I like to say, so what I'm hearing is that you're not opposed to working with a buyer's agent. Is that correct? Right? Get them to say yes, yes, yes. In that case, if I can show you a way where I can maximize the exposure on your home in a way that would greatly benefit you financially without costing you any more commission than what you are already willing to pay, is that something that you'd be interested in looking at? What is a good time for us to meet for just 20 minutes? Would 3 o'clock work for you today, or would 4 be better? Always end with an attempt for an appointment, okay? Once you stop, you're opening them up for another objection. Okay, if it comes up again, right? You said, what if they just keep saying it over and over again? Bring me a buyer, bring me a buyer. Great, so you are willing to pay a buyer's agent's commission. In that case, it sounds like you are looking to save the listing agent's portion of the commission then, right? Right? Because of the NAR settlement, sometimes they're willing to pay that buyer side. They don't want to pay the listing side. If I can show you a way where I can more than make up for the difference in commission that you're looking to save, you would probably consider working with me, wouldn't you? Let me come by just 20 minutes and I'll show you how I can benefit you financially. Would 3 o'clock work for you, or would 4 be better? Okay, just try to get in that door for an appointment. Okay, I wouldn't keep repeating the same handler over and over again. I would want you guys to change it up, because she goes into it. If I could show you, I could net you more. If I can more than cover the listing side commission, it's all the same thing, but it's reworded differently. What I've noticed from experience is if I keep saying the same handler over and over again, they'll get frustrated.
Yeah.
And they'll say no. But from my experience, if I say to them, listen, I know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you're afraid that I'm going to come in within the listing agreement in an attempt to try to get you to list with me, which I would love for you to do. But my priority right now is to just show you how I can help you net more money. And then if and when you do decide that you want to use a realtor, I just want the opportunity to apply for the position. I won't even bring my listing agreements with me.
Do you think?
Right? Their guard will come down. Let me just show you what's the worst that can happen. Right?
Do you think most sellers don't know about that non-settlement, that you don't have to pay the buyer's agent anymore? Or for compensation?
You don't have to, but I would tell you 99% of the time, they're going to build it into the price anyway.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I would say to sellers. Like, you think you're saving on the commission, but these buyers and their agents already have a contract in place. They're going to just build it into the offer price. They're going to build it into whatever they decide to give you. Right? And these sellers, you have to let them understand those sale numbers that they're seeing on Zillow, those sold prices that they see online, have commission built into them, right? They can't justify their value based on those numbers. Okay.
What if the property is already overpriced?
I would educate them and show them. I promise you 99% of for sale by owners are overpriced. Yeah, most of them are not underpriced at all, right? They're thinking, okay, you can through exposure. We're not telling them that their price is right, because what they're asking isn't what they're actually going to sell for.
But you have to ask them, like, how did they come up to that price?
Yeah.
You know, the way we price, when we see what's in the market right now, especially what was recently sold, that's how we determine the price. So
Yeah.
what is their source?
Yeah. Netting them more doesn't mean, so when I say to them, let me show you how I can net you more money by using a realtor, by working with a realtor, that doesn't mean, hey, what you're asking, I could get you more. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, that's the thing. They already had a number,
Yeah.
but that's not realistic.
Yeah. Yeah. So once you start meeting with them, that's when you have to bring them back to reality with actual comps. When you're meeting with them, you're going to ask them strategic questions like what Olga said. How did you come up with the number? My dad told me. Okay, well, is your dad a realtor?
Usually
Right?
they say,
Or-
my neighbors for a house down the block for that price, and that's what they say.
Yeah.
It's very important to ask, did your neighbor sold with the help of the agent?
Yeah. And sometimes they'll say, my neighbor sold. And they'll say, back in 2020, right? But back in 2020, where were interest rates? Yeah. Right? So not everything is equal. Just because your neighbor sold doesn't mean that your value is identical to theirs. Right? There's a lot of factors that go into market value. So your job, you're never going to convince someone to list with you over the phone. You may not even convince them to list with you at the first initial meeting. This is a chess game. And I said this to you guys last week too. And the first piece is to just get in the door to build that relationship. Because you're not gonna, you gotta just keep moving. And that one chess piece is getting that appointment. The second chess piece might be let them realize that they're overpriced, right? The next piece might be to have them see that working with the realtor is actually going to benefit them, right? And then once you move enough chess pieces up, then you'll potentially get that listing. But it's work, but it's going to be worth it. Okay. I'm getting a lot of calls from agents and they all say the same thing. I hear you, and I'm sure you would agree that there's a huge difference between saying something and being able to deliver it. Give me just 20 minutes of your time and I'll show you exactly why and how I will benefit you financially. And at the end of our meeting, you can decide if it makes sense for you to hire me. I have an opening today around 3 o'clock, or is 4 better? Sometimes sellers will say, I'm getting a lot of calls already. I still want to try myself. Right? I'm already getting a lot of calls. What do you say in response? What do you usually say in response, Olga?
Yeah, and usually you're gonna get even more calls, because right now your phone number is publicly advertised as for sale by owner.
Mm-hmm.
Are you getting the calls mostly from the agents or from the buyers?
Yeah. I promise you they're getting mostly calls from agents. And those agents are going to wear them down and they're going to give up.
Then they will ask if you have a buyer.
And then they'll say, we know the sequence. And then they'll say, if you have a buyer, bring them by. And then you should know how to handle that objection. I don't know if I have a buyer, haven't seen your property yet. Remember I said to you guys, the longer you keep them on the phone, their guard comes down. Yeah. What are some other questions you would ask?
What's important for you to sell on your own, but not to net the most amount?
And they'll say net the most amount of money. So what I'm hearing is that you're not opposed to using a realtor. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, so then let me show you how I can net you more money. Is today at 3 good for you or 4 better? No, I still want to try myself. What do you say? This is role playing. We're telling you guys what we hear or what we've heard. No, I still want to try myself.
No, you can definitely try on your own, just want to step by, take a look at your place.
Mm-hmm.
Share with you my professional opinion, what we can do differently,
Mm-hmm.
net you the most amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that information might be helpful to you, we can discuss it further. If not, at least I will review your property.
Yeah.
And give you some tips.
Correct. So I would go somewhere with like in that route, right? There was like, no. So you've handled 2 objections and they continue to say, no, I still want to try myself. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I completely understand. By the way, how did you come up with the price? That's how I would go about it. Because I want to keep them on the phone. I want to talk a little more. I want to build that relationship. Right? Well, maybe you're not asking as much as you should. That was one of the things. Do you remember that script? Where one of the handlers is, well, maybe you're not asking as much as you should.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just don't want you, I would hate for you to leave the money on the table.
Yeah, maybe you're not asking as much as you should. But we already know majority of the times for sale by owners are already overpriced, right?
But it was some situations when they underpriced.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I love that one, by the way. If they say, no, 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 just bring a buyer after I handle 2 objections. Well, let me ask you a question. How did you come up with the price? Well, I looked on Zillow. Well, did you know that Zillow only does a radius search and it doesn't take into consideration a lot of different aspects? What if you're not asking the correct price? And I understand you want to do this on your own, but why don't I show you realistically what a buyer and more importantly, what an agent and what an appraiser will use when they're assessing the value of a property? Would something like that be of help to you? Well, yeah. Okay.
I think the most important thing to deal with the sell by owner from the point that you want to help them versus put them off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dealing right now with one sell by owner. First, she was so like,
Can you guys hear Olga?
don't call me unless you have a buyer. I will pay
Yes.
commission
Mhm.
1.5%.
Mm-hmm.
The more I was asking her questions and I see the listing and it says like 7 bedrooms, which is
Mhm.
really unusual for that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I got access recently.
Mm-hmm.
The son showed me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not 7, it's 5.
Uh-huh.
And it is 3 kitchens in the house.
3 kitchens?
It's 1 family.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be a lot of potential issues. So just trying to kind of build relationship with you, saying that it's either you have to remove one of the kitchens or you have to convert to 2 family, if it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Giving her the information of the Department of Building expediter who can might assist her.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be like a resource, and at the moment when they're really tired, just be at the right place at the right time.
Is this house on 69th and Nansen?
No, it's
Okay. I met an owner just like that, by the way. Okay.
No, it's in Lennox.
Okay.
It's a really nice property. She expired and then she became for sale by owner. But the same, the listing from the previous agent has reductions every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Listed as a 7 bedroom, so the pictures are horrible. I mean,
I want you guys to hear what Olga is saying, right? What she's saying is that she's building that relationship and she knows that it's going to take a while, but she just wants to be a resource. She wants to provide help and she wants to provide information right now because we know that it's a waiting game. We know that it's a timing thing. And eventually, hopefully,
I sold a house in Middle Village.
Yeah.
I was him for 3 years.
3 years.
He was for sale by owner. Everybody paid him in the neighborhood. Every year he put his sign for sale by owner.
Uh-huh.
Everybody attacked him.
Uh-huh.
And when he lives with me, he said, "Oh, you're the only one who was keep following up."
You see? So you guys are not like, that's the problem with a lot of agents. They will try one time. Kathy, right? You said that they hung up on you, but you're going to try again at 6 p.m.?
PM, yes.
Agents will give up. It's the one that persistently follows up and tries that'll get the listing. Okay, it's just a numbers game. And if you guys understand this and you make the calls and you just handle the objection and you just get that appointment and build from there, and hopefully you follow up the right way. And if you don't know, then seek the help of an experienced agent to help you. Like you will eventually get that listing. And think about it, guys, the amount of money that you can make selling a house and double ending, it's worth it, right? It just, and you compound that because you're not just making that one phone call, right? You're making multiple phone calls. And what you do today, you'll see results months from now, years from now, right? Otherwise, where's your business going to come from? Okay. So the point of this training is to let you know that these objections are going to come up. It's going to be the commission. It's going to be bring me a buyer. And then you're going to handle it by just saying, listen, I know you're you're saying this to a lot of agents, just bring me a buyer. But we don't know if we have a buyer for your property unless we see your home yet, right? There are going to be agents that will tell you that they have a buyer, but they're lying to you. How would they know if they haven't seen your home yet, right? I rather work from honesty. Let's set up an appointment. Let me take a look at your property. Let me tell you what I truly believe your home is worth. Because your property is in the market that I service. And if and when you do decide to use a realtor, I'd love to apply for the position. Right? So you're going to go in there with a CMA. You're going to provide them with value. You're going to show them why agents will net for sale by owners more money. And what I do differently also with a lot of for sale by owners and expireds is I really dig deep into DOB. Do you do that too? I went on a listing appointment and I found out that someone else in this office went on the same listing appointment, and we were strategizing about working together on it and like what he found out about it, what I found out about it. And I'm like, did you know that they had work done, but they didn't sign off on it? And he's like, no, I didn't know. Right? So think about that. You're going up against another realtor that is applying for the same potential of getting that listing. And one agent shared with the owner that they did research on the property ahead of time to avoid potential issues later down the road, right? Who's going to have more credibility with the seller? The one that actually tells them like, hey, you have this issue, this issue, this issue, and you should resolve it ahead of time. And I'll do that for sale by owners. I'll do that for expireds. For expireds, I like to pinpoint where the information is incorrect. There's a lot of agents, you experienced agents. You see on MLS that there's a lot of misinformation on there, right? From other realtors. There is. Sometimes they'll say that it's not pet friendly when it is. Sometimes they'll put the wrong maintenance. Sometimes they'll say something completely wrong about the property itself. 7 bedrooms versus 5 bedrooms, right?
It was just attic, which they count as a 2-bed.
Yeah. And then when buyers go there or when agents go there, they get disappointed, right? You're targeting the wrong buyers. Buyers that want 7 bedrooms are looking at your 5-bedroom house. You're exposing yourself to the wrong pool of buyers, right? All right, I know this is a lot of information. It's a little bit overwhelming. Do you guys have some comments or feedback before we move ahead? How do you guys find for sale by owners? Yeah, driving around.
They're great.
Huh?
They're great. I mean, yeah, if you actually make a good connection with them, first impression, or second follow-up, third follow-up, they're actually gonna remember you eventually. Ask for their email, send them something,
Yeah. You just have to be of value. You just have to be of value. If you can't show value, you're just like any other agent out there. Okay.
And also like from all those databases that I call, I see that out of 10, 8 listed with an agent.
8 out of 10 for sale by owners. They will eventually list. They will.
They are tired.
Yeah.
Like they have work, and then they don't really used to our industry. When you have appointment, you confirm it. At the last moment, the agent might cancel it. Like I was dealing with so many for sale by owners who've been so frustrated when agent canceled.
Or they just don't show up.
Don't show up, or after they show it and the buyers show that, oh, they like it so much. After that, the agents does not give any feedback. That was driving him crazy.
Yeah.
Because she was very emotional attached to the property.
Yeah, they let their emotions get the best of them. Many of them.
I remember that for sale by owner in the middle village, like I was still showing the house to the agents or to the buyer. I was like, like at the porch, he was texting me. What did they say? Like, I'm like, you have to calm down. The more questions I would ask right away, it's just gonna show, and I always say that not you desperate, I always say, it's gonna just show that we're really desperate. So I just think that the word "we" is very important because it just shows that you and the seller, a team, that you are selling together, not like, you know, that's his property and you're just trying to make the money.
Yeah. A lot of sellers, to be very honest with you, from our experience, like Olga, how long have you been in this business again?
17.
17 years. I've been doing this 26 years, right? And you guys will see that
2008.
17? More than 17.
18.
18 years, 26 for me. You'll see that a lot of for sale by owners are so emotional with the sale of their property. And what happens is that they let their emotions get the best of them. And sometimes they will divulge too much information, more than they really should. They always, and there are some that give information that they shouldn't give, like, oh, I hate this neighbor, or, you know, I'm negotiable. So they start negotiating, basically telling the buyers that they're willing to listen to all offers before the buyers even say anything. And they've compromised already their position prematurely, right? Because they get so like worried, or they just don't understand sales. And I hear a lot of them like, oh, should I tell them this? Should I tell them this? Should I tell them that? Like, no.
It should not be even present.
Yeah. I always tell my sellers to leave, because what will a seller do? They talk too much. They talk way too much, and they give away their position. Like, we need this sold because I'm going to move to California by next month. It shows their urgency. It shows that they're on a tight time frame. They need to go, right? So they speak or they say things that they really shouldn't. They need to pull themselves out. Okay, you guys, the reason why we're telling you guys this is because you have to truly understand and believe that for sale by owners is not the way to go. That we truly believe working with an agent will net sellers more money, because that's, show us that. I want you to guys go to page 19 on Jackie Kravitz's scripts. We have about 15 more minutes. If you cannot find for sale by owners, because I've already told you guys that the stats keep going less and less, right? It was 6% last year. Now it's only 5%. When I started, it was over 20%, right? I started in the year 2000. And there was plenty of for sale by owners. Back then, I would open the newspaper if things weren't online, or I would go on Craigslist, and there was so many for sale by owners. But now there's very few. So what you're gonna do is find for rent by owners. Okay, there are a lot of for rent by owners. You know why? Because now landlords have to pay the commission, right? Hi, is this John? This is Lily. I'm a local real estate agent. I noticed that you have a house for rent on Groton Street. I'm curious, if you could sell the house now at a price that makes sense for you, is that something that you would consider? Right? Or you could just say something like, hey, I understand, I see that you're trying to rent this property. I'm working with a number of buyers right now and inventory is low. Have you considered selling if the price is right? Right? Just put it in your own words if you want to. But you could target for rent by owners as well.
Now, a lot of rent by owners says that, yeah, so maybe in 1 year. You know,
Yeah, and then you're gonna follow up with them as well. I had some people call me and they want to rent. I'm sorry, there's some chats. I want to see who's asking questions or if it's just Francis. Oh, yeah, okay. whenever I get a landlord that calls me and asks me to rent something for them, I will always ask them that question. Right? Would you be open to selling if the price was right? Would you be open to selling if the price is right? Well, how much do you think I can get the property for? That's a great question. Why don't we schedule a time and do a market analysis for you and show you realistically what a buyer's willing to pay? Right? At what price are you looking to get? I always ask an owner too, what do you think the property is worth? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Always. Why?
If you wanna know if they're listed.
Mm-hmm. You want to know how to position yourself when you go into that listing appointment, right? You want to know, are they unrealistic or if they are underpriced or if they're overpriced?
And I'll also send them the package. In the package, there is a price range. So they can review it with the net sheet.
You guys curious what she's talking about? A pre-listing package is what she's talking about. You have a pre-listing package, Juan?
I do. Yeah.
EXP has these online, guys, right? Through their marketing center. Have you guys logged into it? You could customize your own. We did a training on this as well. Okay. You guys have so many tools through EXP's marketing center that you guys should customize and be able to customize. Okay.
Just looking at it right now, it's a new listing presentation that they came up with is amazing.
Okay. So for rent by owners is something that a lot of people overlook. And I want you guys to target that as well. So you could also go into the MLS instead of expired sale listings. I want you guys to look at expired rental listings as well. And you could target that. Yeah. How many of you guys are making calls right now? I want to hear from like experiences. You know, we can go over scripts over and over, but you know, dealing with actual calls and objections, I feel like you learn a lot more from it.
What if someone says, "No, not sure"? I keep asking them the same, thing. Not sure. When do you think you might put it back on the market? Not sure.
So you can say, if I bring you the buyer with acceptable price, that would you move in 30 days? Like if we get you a buyer during those 30 days, would that be a problem for you?
Yeah, that, or you could say if you're sold, what are your plans? What are your plans after you sell?
But where you plan to go next?
Well, I'm gonna go to Florida. Well, when do you think that'll be?
I have
Right?
an appointment on Saturday. Yeah, I think he's going through a divorce. So he was like, not sure, do you think I should sell it or not?
Divorce is a little bit more difficult because you have to see whose name's on the deed. Because you can't sell half the house, right?
Yeah.
So you need to figure out who's on.
You have to meet with both parties.
You have to meet with both parties.
Just the reverse of that.
Yes, we've had that situation. I had the situation right now also where it's a separation, a divorce, where they sometimes will also use you to put it on the market, see what price they get, and then the other party will just buy the other party out. Happens all the time. We have seen it all. We have done it all. And divorce is a more complicated situation. So you do have to ask the tough questions, right? And you find out who's on the deed by looking on Adam or looking on public record. And then you have to ask the tough questions of, do both you and your wife want to sell?
The funny thing is, she left, he's in the house enjoying like all the 5 bedrooms with the dog. Because she left to her friend, you know, living good. And then she wants to sell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would he even consider it?
But eventually it becomes a court order where they would have to. It would take years. You have to ask the difficult questions. I know some of you guys are afraid to ask the difficult questions. You have to ask the difficult questions because otherwise you'll be wasting your time. We learn from pain, from experiences of avoiding the tough questions. And then we realize we have to ask those questions because you need to find out. You need to find out their motivation. If they're just brushing it aside, right? So you have to say to them, listen, if this sells tomorrow, where would you go?
So should I call them for the pre-qualifying questions first, or should I just go there and find out everything?
Depends how you got in the door, right? If I'm saying to them, listen, I'm not going to even bring my listing documents. I'm going to give you this, right? Because your home is in the market that I service and I just want to build that relationship with you. Then I might not ask all the pre-qualifying questions. There are pre-qualifying questions, by the way, in Jackie Kravis's scripts. You guys see it? Okay. There's a lot of questions. You choose and pick the ones that you don't go through all the questions sometimes, right?
I'm trying to ask for, maybe the only one which I'm asking on my feed is like, are you gonna finance or you just need to cash out? Most of the people need to cash out.
No. If they are answering your questions, then you keep asking it. But if you get a sense that they're reluctant, I like to meet in person, build that relationship, and then move from there sometimes too. Because I promise you, people are nicer in person than they are on the phone. But in the event that you don't ask all the questions, you do it in person,
Some
right?
issues comes up. Like I took the listing and she was okay with commission, with the price, with everything. I got so excited, I signed.
Uh-huh.
And then I got to an offer in 2 weeks and she's like, oh, it's too soon. My son is gonna like finish the school like 6-7 months from now. I cannot move right now. So I did not ask you if I get you the buyer in the next 30 days, would that be a problem for you? I did not ask that question.
Yeah.
Totally my fault. And she said, I thought it's gonna take you a year to sell.
Yeah. So it's really important that you guys do determine timeline. You hear the pain, she went through it. So you ended up taking it off the market?
We've been doing the open houses. We got the buyer, full cash, no inspection, nothing. And she said, I cannot move right now. Then she went to Guyana, I don't know, for a month, and then she came back and she said, okay, it's not a good time for me to sell, but I promise you, if I will ever sell, put it back on the market, you're gonna be my agent.
How long ago was this?
I sold it in a year, she.
Put it back on the market?
Connected, we sold the place. I'm just saying that was totally my fault by not asking
The pre-qualifying questions.
where they're gonna go, because she said, I'm just gonna rent it, she said it's too much money, but because of her son in school.
But the thing is, those questions can be asked in person when you actually get the listing appointment. I think he's talking about pre-qualifying questions prior to meeting with them. I don't want you to interrogate them to a point where they cancel that. What I want for you guys to do is get in the door first. It's that first chess piece.
I think
Right?
it's still, like, under my theory, the first question is like, when we meet tomorrow, and if what I say makes sense, and you.
Are you ready to sign?
Absolutely comfortable that I'm the one who's gonna sell your place, are you planning to list with me? I mean, they might say, no, I'm not ready yet. You
Mhm.
just say, okay, that's fair, but at least you would know kind of where they stand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do that. But if I'm going in again saying, I understand, because they keep pushing back. Let's say they give objection after objection after objection. And you're like, listen, I just want to meet with you to provide you with this analysis. You could say, if everything I'm sharing with you right now makes sense, Is there anything stopping you from listing with me tomorrow? Right? You can say that. It comes out, right? But if you're not and go and do it in person.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, after 18 years in the business, right? She's comfortable because she's taken so many training with Mike Ferry. She's done the script. She's called for sale by owners. She's called expireds, right? Like, does it make you nervous anymore? No.
No, because I mean, the more you just say that, listen, this person on the other side is need my help more than me need his help. You just have to learn from this point. You know, I know that I can do a better job.
Do you hear her
versus them,
mindset? Do you hear her
versus
mindset?
them. And even those like for sale by owners who went on Friday, we previewed 3 properties, and to every seller, we said, you know, we in the neighborhood today, we're previewing 3 properties, they've been listed and expired. So we just wanna see if we can help those people to be sold. And some houses, you know, might not even take it, because if they total overpriced, it's a terrible condition. Like I don't wanna waste the time. Yeah, and I say that, you know, if I think that I won't be able to help you, I'm just gonna tell you the way it is.
That's what experienced agents do. Right? But in the beginning, did you do that? You took every single listing, didn't you? Yeah.
My people that overprice those things.
I know, but I'm just telling you guys the truth. I've walked away from listings too, and I've told owners over the phone, like, you should just go back with your previous agent. Because of the fact that I knew they were unmotivated, unrealistic, overpriced, underpaying, you know, and we are in the position where we could say, no, thank you, right? But if you're brand new, I wouldn't mind if you went through the steps of learning.
Yeah, it's just an experience.
Get in the door. Just get in the door. Just make those phone calls and get in the door. And if you are not comfortable going on your own, ask your sponsor to help you. If your sponsor is not around to help you, you can ask one of the experienced agents that have listings to go with you, right? Olga can go with you. Michelle, she's right back there. She's closed, what, 40 to 50 deals last year. She's on my team. She'll go with you happily if you get a listing appointment, right? Guys, yes. And you learn from these experienced agents, and they'll show you what to do. So you're not learning the hard way. All right, you guys good? They're not that scary. For sale by owners do not eat their young. They're not scary at all. I used to be petrified of them when I first began making those initial phone calls. I just prayed they didn't pick up. But I went through the steps of dialing, and I was like, oh shit.
So once you know what to say,
Once you know what to say, and that's why she says it's all a mindset, right? If you truly believe you're there to help them, and that's why I went through stats first. I went through 2024 stats, 2025 stats with you. If you truly understand that you will help these people, then it's a completely different mentality of you bothering them versus you helping them. Right? All right, guys, we are done for today. Any